Hello, friends. Hello, Romans. Hello, countrymen. Do you have any extra bears you could lend me? Today we ask the provocative question, if Bruce Lee falls on Chuck Norris, does it make him frown? Another important question is, if Bruce Lee falls on Chuck Norris, does it make a sound? But, ultimately, I'm not going to lie this time. This time I'm going to be honest. The answer is yes. Wow, Eric, it's so gracious of you to be honest this time.
Yeah.
I'm not lying this time. You should believe me.
This time.
It's not like all those other times. So, been doing some musing, been doing some choosing, been living life like a man from Mesopotamia. And what I've concluded is that that it's important for us to convert the idea of put, get, and receive functions into, important for me to convert them into things that mean a little bit, that give us a little bit more concrete understanding of them. For example, what I was going to say is, okay. So the thing is, what caused me to pause right there is, earlier I got a video that I had said there was nothing wrong with it. YouTube said no, it's not okay for advertisers. Now I noticed that on this live stream, I'm accumulating the initial burst of viewers and participants a little more slowly than usual, which makes me wonder if, until that appeal is resolved, if in fact that they're worried that I'm not like legit or something. If the algorithm says, okay, well, if we have something where he said it was fine but it really wasn't, then we're gonna stranglehold him or something. Of course, so far all the reviews have gone in my favor. The one that got limited ads was the one about where I responded to that guy's comment, even though I don't think there was anything wrong with that video.
I listened to it as well. I didn't see anything wrong.
It is about kind of a controversial issue, but not like is indicated in the thing. I don't know. But anyway, what I've been musing about besides that stuff, which I didn't start musing about until a second ago, is specifically, see, we've got, I'm 3.5 minutes in, and I have one viewer. 2 now. So, not that I get huge amounts of views or anything, but that's, for the time of day, although it is Labor Day, but for the time of day, I would say that's very slow progress compared to normal. So it makes me muse about whether that's reflective of some sort of structural impact or whatever, So, listening, telling, asking, occurs to me that we could describe introverted intuition as listening to objective data. Listening for objective data, you could say. In other words, being in a receive mode where you're not talking or asking questions or thinking or whatever because you're anticipating data to land upon you. In other words, the external world, the objects of the world, be they metaphysical or physical, to be for you to be able to receive that data if you're quiet and listening, so to speak. And SI is listening to subjective data, listening to your own experience, rather than what the world's telling you. We could say that NI then is listening to things tell you what they are, listening to identity. SI is listening to what you already know or have available links to a given thing, a given object. So in that sense, it links to subjective data. Now, look, the thing about that is you remember not just subjective data, you remember bits of objective data too. But because it's becoming from within you at that point, it's been learned and memorized, the data source is subjective. If it's an external data source, you can cite it and render it objective. But the thing is, so SI listens for subjective data. When it encounters an object out in the world, it goes, let me be quiet and hear what I already know about it and what's corollaries, previous corollaries there were where it was like equivalent, you know. And I goes, let me be quiet, so it will tell me what it is, and I'll be able to know things about it. The thing that's notable here is it helps us to understand how important it is to use the word objective and subjective correctly. So it's objective data in the sense that it's external to, that everybody can access it equally. But what it knows about it are qualities of the object that are not reducible. So if NI knows something's a good movie, it might be perceived as subjective. It says, okay, well, I know what the object's telling me. This object is telling me I am a good movie. It's telling me that not because I'm looking back at my past and realizing it jives with my experience. It's telling me that because ignoring my own past and experience, I'm evaluating what it says about itself in a vacuum so I can really know what it is rather than let myself be influenced by my own perceptions. And so you know, an NI Dom might say, well, this song's better than that song, and they'll face this sort of critique. Well, that's just a subjective opinion. It is an opinion, but it's an opinion that is informed by objective knowing, or listening simply by listening to what an identity tells us it is. And so it's true that my conclusion that I'm telling you is almost certainly to be upheld, because all I am doing is telling you what I know from listening to that thing tell me what it is. And for GI people, that's not going to be good enough. It's like, well, I need more validation than that. You're going to have to reductively explain how, you know, reduce everything down and break it down so I can explain how you got there. Of course, you can't explain how you got there because it's knowing. It's instantaneous. It's not durational in the way that deliberation is, or actions. Actions take time to complete. Deliberations take time to complete. Interfacing is necessarily a matter of directing time towards managing the complicated handshake between multiple agents, you know, or multiple systems. And I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going. Oh well. No one's here anyway. Looks like YouTube hates me again. Three viewers.
Yeah, I didn't get an update that you were going live.
So, you know, it's like I'll have to wait until, obviously they're going to shadow ban me until I'm back to 100% perfect on my monetization. This is under review right now, but until it's done being under review, I'm probably going to be kind of on check. It takes about as long as a day to finish to be reviewed.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's gonna. I don't think there's any possibility people are gonna object to that one.
No, I don't know what.
I mean, it's just obviously if you have kids or children and anything controversial in it, they must have instant limited ads.
Yeah,
But-
you're right. I think so.
But it's like I didn't do anything.
The content has nothing.
Yeah. Oh, is the debate video on right now? Or no, it's done premiering, right? I'd hate to be cannibalizing my own premiere. He's got a cool name for a name-changing business. You talking about Gerald? I'd like to hear his cool name. Cool idea for a name-changing business. Yeah, he cannot. He's really imagining a moment when that firm hires him to change the name of Christmas to something better. He's considering Dazzle Day. It's a better name for Christmas, you think? Maybe.
Dazzle Day?
You know what? Christmas is too bland, Tony. Dazzle Day!
Does Dazzle Day still include presents?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's the same as Christmas, except everything is bejeweled with dazzling bedazzlement. He is struggling to find his way to Marjorie's tasty spots. It's a good point. And her tater tots. You know?
Yeah.
But really, and this is hard to say there's any answer. Anybody would say, I'm that person. Who doesn't like tater tots? Oh, I don't like tater tots. Nobody's going to be that person to raise their hand and say,
Yeah.
I don't. I'm the one who dislikes tater tots.
I wonder who does.
Nobody. Everybody likes tater
Everybody
tots.
likes tater tots.
Tater tots were the high point of school lunch when they had tater tots.
Yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah.
Inferior to French fries. They're no way
They're
inferior to French fries.
No. You can't compare that. To me, it goes French fries, like baked potato, tater tots, you know? They're made from potatoes, but they're made differently.
Here's the key thing about tater tots. They're French fries for other entree things that don't go with French fries.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get a hamburger, sure, you're going to get your fries. Well, but if you're having meatloaf, you can have fries, but you still want fries. Well, here come the tater tots. Yeah. To save the day. Here come the tater tots to save the day.
They do save the day. Everyone looks forward to those tater tots.
Right. A lot of places have bad fries. I've never come across bad tater tots. And the reason is because nobody makes their own tater tots. Everybody buys frozen tater tots.
True.
There's like one tater tot manufacturer in the world that pumps out all the frozen tater tots that everybody uses. And they're absolutely fantastic. That's why every tater tot you ever get, it's delicious.
It's so good.
Right. You'll never hear somebody say, oh my god, the tater tots there are terrible. What? Tater tots and terrible do not belong in the same sentence together.
Oh my god, again.
What happened?
I keep on stepping on it.
Oh, is that lizard?
Yeah.
So you identify? This is a
Yes.
T.E. Polar, baby.
I'm sorry. What do you mean by that?
You identified that the lizard was dead, but you just left it right there.
I forgot it. Yeah, that's definitely T.E.
That's more
Polar.
S.E., I guess, than T.E.
Well, it's kind of T.E.
So, one thing I want to agree with Bob from Bob's Burgers about, there's something deeply not okay about sweet potato fries.
Yeah, that's not okay.
They are not okay.
No.
They are a crime against nature.
Sweet potato fries and sweet potatoes are more like yams than they are potato.
Sweet potato is nature's most misleadingly named vegetable because they're neither sweet nor do they taste like potatoes.
No.
They're just like gross, mushy orange things.
Ew. Thanks. They do not come in potato tot style.
Hi, Lawnmower. I think it's because I currently have a video that's under review as to whether or not it's legitimate for ads.
Yeah.
I had told them correctly that there's nothing wrong with this video, go ahead and monetize it. But they came back with a different conclusion with the algorithm. So I'm in, like, I think I'm in, like, timeout kind of right now. But I'm going to win the appeal. The appeals go by pretty quick. You say, no, appeal this, and then every time so far they've sided with me. So, and it's been quite a few times. And this is not really questionable, I don't think. It's from the one about, I was responding to the guy's comment. Hello there, Cloud. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again.
Aww.
About how always blot the light with your darkness in the night so fright. My least favorite person? There's no least favorite about you, Cloud. You're my favorite provocateur de niche. What does provocateur de niche mean? I don't know, it just seems like it was a word that wanted a de niche after it.
Fitting for an ESFP.
Or, you know, what Cloud is whatever he wants to be, alright?
Yeah, no, I agree. Cloud is whatever he wants to be.
He's made that clear to us.
Yeah, it's true. You are as fluid as the waves are.
You're as fluid as fluids. Oh, thanks, Raphael. He's actually in high school now. He's in 9th grade now. So, unfortunately, it's not really a middle school debater anymore. But, because it sounds better when it's a middle school debater. You know, it's like, oh, wow, that's a middle schooler? I guess we should try harder.
Mighty lungs. Hey,
Thanks, Vincent's mom. You know, I will tell you something. If there's one adjective you people use to describe me, that adjective would be professional. It used to be, I used to be sensitive about it, actually. Like, what do you mean I'm unprofessional? I hate that word. Okay, I'm a little unprofessional. Hi, Queen of Vegas. I hope you attained the throne of Queen of Vegas through legitimate means, and not through regicide.
Me too. Does COVID affect the Queen of Vegas?
I'm not sure. I think she may hand out COVID as a party prize.
Cool.
Or door prize.
Like tater tots?
Tater tots would be a good door prize. I'm a little confused by Raphael's thing here. He says, I said it in the bid. I said what I just said in the bid, which is he's not in middle school anymore. I didn't say he was a middle schooler in the bid. I'm not sure if you mean that or not. I just want to clarify for everybody. I did not misspeak or misrepresent him as a middle schooler in the bid. I represented him as a high schooler, but I explained what I just explained. My favorite quote is, "It's not enough that I succeed, others must fail." That's Genghis Khan's quote, I believe, or Attila the Hun, one of the two. I don't remember who said it, but it's one of those two. And the thing is, I hate that quote. It's like, good job, Lady Gaga's dad.
What?
He's suing New York for $2 billion for their indoor dining ban.
Sweet. She was born in Yonkers too. Oh, I haven't mentioned that.
Yeah, what's his mom? I meant to. Oh no, actually, I didn't mean to on that one. There was another video that I meant to, the recipe one. You know, like INTJ is a watcher who meows, meow, meow, meow. Because that's really what I've been thinking about a lot right now. And the realization I had today, which was quite, actually kind of startling to me, that it was such a realization. If you were to ask me if I was a good listener, historically, I would have said, yes, I'm a good listener. But what I would have meant is, I understand what people say without having to ask them to repeat it. Most of the time. So, in other words, I'm listening well enough to catch what you said, and if I'm trying to listen, it's not a difficult thing to accomplish. I can understand what you say. But what has occurred to me when I was thinking about this put, get, receive thing, and how we can express it in different terms, is it's being in a state of listening or watching or waiting for something to inform you. Whereas, so when I say I'm a good listener, that I'm only talking about one tiny portion of listening, really. I can be a good listener when I choose to be a good listener, and especially if I'm listening for specific meanings. So if somebody wants to talk to me about, I feel somewhat a little bit betrayed, but I also feel kind of, responsible in some ways. And I also feel like maybe, I guess, unfair to you, but also kind of hurt. But I also feel like, the thing is, how long you're going to listen to that depends on what you, I don't remember where I was going. Lost train of thought again. I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad day with losing my train of thought. What was I saying? Do you remember?
Well, you were talking about how you're not a good listener, and you realized that because you thought that, basically, like, picking up pieces of the conversation and answering without having to ask questions of what they were talking about is listening. But it's just like...
Well, I would have framed listening a little differently, but right, I see what you're saying. But, the thing is, so I'm not a good listener because I'm never in listening mode. I'm never expecting information to come to me that I don't ask for. So by default, I'm a talker, a teller, which means I'm telling you how it is, whatever, not listening to it. To the extent that I'm not a teller, normally I'm asking questions. I'm a teller who questions. And then, ideally, networks to be optimal. What don't I do? I don't listen to my own experience very well. I don't listen to what the objects in the world, the identity they have, is telling me about themselves. Although I find that comforting, I don't ever seem to do it myself unless it's sort of circumstances trigger it or something. So, yeah, that's the bottom line is, oh, I see. Listening is not about it's not a function you turn on and off for people who are listeners. It's their default.
Yeah, I agreed with that.
Yeah, well, Winston's mom, I am determined that no matter who I debate next, that I'm going to do a better job of managing the whole thing. I have historically kind of treated YouTube as playtime. It's where I don't have to be the teacher exactly. So if I'm coaching debate, I can't indulge myself in stuff that doesn't produce outcomes of the kids learning more and stuff. Around here, I don't have to care about that, but I really should, and everything would go better to the extent that I'm more optimally including the networking qualities of FE and less the questioning qualities of TI. I found my debate last night informative because you can see what happens when somebody is always questioning as a normal way of doing, and always telling and questioning, but not networking enough. That is to say, not answering questions enough, not being responsive to the other person's actual questions enough, and not engaging in a way that you would call civil, because it was challenging for the two parties to settle down or something. And I've included myself in this. Of course, the other thing is, to a certain extent, I get more blame for it because we were both subject to the same thing. A formless debate where there's not even a resolution. In fact, right out the gate, he completely 180'd the ground and said now he's arguing that there are rational reasons to believe in God. Wait, aren't we doing this the other way around? Anyway, the point is, a formless debate will necessarily be at the mercy of the waves of the debate, whereas a formed debate constrains the ability of any given bit of chaos to become structurally infestive. So it's like, you have 4 minutes to give a speech, you're going to say something in those 4 minutes. Whatever you don't say, you didn't say. Whatever you do say, you did say. And so I no longer have to spend so much time pinning down on what you meant, what you mean, although I should have a chance to question. But at some point, I'm given time to simply address what they say. What was leaked? Oh, I see. Never mind. I read it. Whatever it is, the average person needs you to give them 7 seconds before interrupting, or they shut down and get frustrated. That's a good stat to hear. The thing is, I'd like to apply these things in general. I would like to think that I'm transitioning from a period of my life where there's a need to both prove myself and establish and maintain boundaries, into a period of my life where I need to stop trying to prove myself and allow some kinds of my boundaries anyway to be more flexible, for the purposes of both my own better actualization and for the purposes of everybody else's comfort and for the purposes of success and for all sorts of different reasons. It's just, if you stop growing, you die. So I don't want to be unnecessarily cantankerous and adversarial when I can do better. And even if it's not my reflex necessarily to do better.
I think it is.
I think it's my instinct, but not my reflex.
Ah.
Which is to say, my immediate gut thing in the moment is, well, fuck you, I cannot believe, Whereas, that's understandable, maybe, because I'm frustrated, but my instinct is saying, well, in general, my belief system, or whatever you want to call it, is saying, being good is good, and being bad is bad, and my, I guess, instincts are suggesting that's not the best way to go. Not to just be, winning hard is very different than winning soft. And winning soft can be way more powerful, but it's not something that I am accustomed to trying or even really thinking about. Yeah. I'm thirsty as hell. Oh, here's my beer.
Hey, would you, sir?
When did he say that? Oh, you're talking a lot more. Never mind.
Oh, you do. Whoa.
Nice. I feel it come out like.
Did you?
Yeah, felt like a tree being uprooted in my nose.
That's good.
Is there any more?
Mm-hmm. Whoa!
Let's see. Look at it with this. That's a biggie.
Yeah.
It's a juicer.
Uh-huh.
Well, winning soft means basically strategy over tactics. So it's like what Ben Franklin says, one of the best ways to make a friend of an enemy is to ask them to do a favor for you. It might seem odd, and if you were just sort of to assume a certain kind of metric or whatever, assume a certain kind of like engine underneath the thing, but it's intuitively to me it sounds like that's probably very true. That if you pull this technique off, you'd be in great shape. You go to your enemy, hey, look, I know we've had some back and forth stuff, but I actually I'm hopeful you might be willing to do a favor for me. So I hate to have to come to you like this, but this is what I'm hoping. But you're asking a minor favor, right? There's something that's not going to hurt you if they don't give it to you. Can you lend me this book that you have? I really need a copy of it.
Yeah.
I'm in a pinch now. I got to come to you and ask you. Oh, you got me. All of a sudden, you guys are. He's been included in your battle, and you've been gracious in his, and it's a whole different ballgame. That's winning soft. The other guy, but of course, you might say it's winning with. But see, it's not dishonest because you're not misrepresenting anything. You're just not informing him that you're aware of this additional quality to it. You know.
Can I just say that the winning aspect and entertainment aspect brings up to mind the LA Dodgers because they're doing great and they're seriously entertaining me on Instagram. Yeah.
We watched a game together, or I think one, maybe two,
we watched,
couple of them.
Yeah, we watched like 2 games together.
This season, and I have to say I enjoyed them.
Good.
I enjoy watching baseball.
Me too.
We don't currently have the cable set up out here, so if we want to watch the Dodger games, we have to go inside the house. But that's fine. But the problem is it's kind of hard to keep track of when they're on and stuff. It seems like they get postponed all the time, and
that's why I get updated on the games through social media. They won. I mean, they lost last night to Colorado, but they're still in first place. So they're doing well, and the young kids are doing well too.
Who's the young kids?
Will Smith.
He is getting increasingly jiggy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Do good to thy friend to keep him, to thy enemy to gain him. Well, see, but that's a different principle than the one I said, right? Here it says, do good to thy enemy to keep him, to thy friend to keep him, to thy enemy to gain him. The Benjamin Franklin quote I read said quite the opposite. It said, get your enemy to do good for you to get him. In other words, give your enemy an opportunity to be nice from a position of power, and that will make them your friend.
Mm-hmm. It's also stated in a lot of psychology books and videos that the way to gain a favor is to give do a favor, or to gain favor, just to do a favor. People do like to be of help when, like you said, the position of power, they're able to.
Some people have a lot of trouble asking others for favors and stuff.
Sometimes I do.
I do. I hate it. I want, but it's really unfair of me as well. Like, it's almost like I won't let you be nice to me. And that's not cool, It's like everybody needs to let others be nice to them as well as be nice to others.
I like being nice to you.
You're very nice to me. I let you be nice to me.
Yes, you do.
Cloud.
What's Cloud doing?
Cloud and Raphael and everybody with their kung fu fighting.
Yeah, really. Happy Labor Day.
Just moving as fast as lightning. Here's a simple psychological trick to get people to do you a favor.
See, but I don't want to I never want to trick anyone.
Alright, well, that's the issue, right? So it's like, let's say I were to soft win. If I were to try to soft win something by, and, you have to be subtle about it, obviously. You can't be obvious about what you're doing. But let's say I were to somehow figure out a way to soft win that didn't misrepresent anything, but also took advantage of the fact that he was not fully informed. That's the issue. Lawnmower is fully informed. That's why it's uncomfortable. It's against a negative positivist thing, right? It's like it's not morally prohibited to do that because you aren't lying, you aren't misrepresenting anything. You're just taking advantage of what you know about their likelihood to draw the wrong conclusion, which is morally permissible. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It certainly doesn't mean that it's morally advisable. So it means it's a positivist issue. Unlike negative questions, it has to be particularistically determined. Oliver, you've made it! Hello!
Hello, and thank you very much, Lawnmower.
Rachel, Oliver's here.
Oliver
Lyman. Yes. Oh, it's so nice to see you.
So nice.
Why don't you come outside and have some chutney? Some chutney?
Yeah. We should invite Megan and Harry over for
They
chutney.
should come for chutney.
They live in LA now.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes. We can see them in a Ralph's probably hanging out. But we'll extend our royalty to them.
What are their names again?
Harry and Megan.
Harry, Megan, listen. You're always welcome here at our country estate. Please stop by anytime.
Anytime.
Unfortunately, Megan, you can anticipate quite a scolding from me. Yes.
Harry, from me, I would be like, come here.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We must be either supervisor or benefactor types of those two.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure that I'm the benefactor to Megan's beneficiary. She's an ENFJ.
You are.
And that would mean if it were an equivalent relationship, then he would be, who's your beneficiary?
INTP.
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Is that right? Are you sure, or you want to figure it out too?
Wait. ISFPs benefit me. I benefit INTPs.
Okay, then yeah, INTP. So he must be, if he's either an INTP, your beneficiary, or what's your supervisee? ESFJ. Or an ESFJ. I don't think he's an ESFJ.
No.
So I'm going to say INTP. Probably Megan and Harry are ENFJ, INTP. And each of them is badly in need of a stern talking to from their benefactor and supervisor, or
totally.
Benefactor again.
Totally. I do feel that way for him. Like, I do feel like, excuse me? Did you totally give up everything for this woman and you didn't even tell anyone about it? your grandma, who you know it. I mean, look, it's almost like talking to myself.
It's horrible because, of course, Megan's incredible arrogance is predicated on two things: ignoring FI and discounting SI completely.
Yeah.
Your actual experience doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter. My NI vision of what ought to be, according to my FE frame, is what matters. Well, listen up, Meghan fucking Markle. You know, I am going to come by your house in Los Angeles and yell at your window every morning this very sort of thing and say, explain, the reason you are doing this is because of your cognitive functions tech. You need to understand yourself so you can check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself. Except you've already done it, you stupid bitch.
Thank you. Wow, I'm so glad you feel that way too. There's you know, a lot of body language videos about her.
What does this body language say to you?
Closed off.
I am not having it, Meghan Markle. Nope. That's what this body language says.
And I'm like, Harry. Just like your, oh my god. I never get this parental. Not even to pee-pee do I get this parental. I'm like, Harry, like, you're just like your uncle. You're getting fooled. Like, history is repeating itself this time. Do you remember hearing how, like, Edward, when he came over here, how his wife, like, totally didn't love him and, like, basically used him as, like, a whipping boy? Yeah, that happened. Ree, we don't live here no more.
Awful woman. She is the Asia Argetta of Grace Kelly's.
Yeah.
She's the Asia Argetta of Grace Kelly's.
She is the Asia Argetta. That's a good comparison right there. You know, I've listened to a lot of YouTubes on their relationship because for a while I was just dismissing it until they, like, dropped the bomb and, like, just, like, basically, like, Irish exited the whole...
She must have spent every bit of her capital with him to get him to do that, though. She must have no capital left because...
No, they don't.
She's coercing with all of her ENFJ efforts him into a fundamentally bad course of action for him, regardless of whether it's good for her or not.
Yeah.
ISFP benefits you, Rachel.
Huh?
Your benefactor is ISFP. That's what Oliver says.
Yeah, they do. They do. PP does benefit me, and like. That
must be why she's so. She's more giving with you than she is with me. You know?
She definitely. Did I ever tell you the story? One day I went out there. And I kind of ruined her slumber, right? Because I just wanted to pet her. Like, I just really wanted to pet her. She's just so freaking cute. And so I petted her, and I walked around a little bit with her, because what she likes is for me to walk around and see the spots that she goes to. So I follow her most of the days, but this day I didn't. And she was like, "Oh no, you are not leaving me now." And woof, she got my leg. She was like, "You are staying here, and I am showing all of my glory to you. I'm not done with your FI yet." Yeah.
Well, as long as I got you here.
Yeah, you're staying.
Here's the other thing I wanted to mention was I'm beginning to have a little less faith in the one-to-one link between the polar tests and polars, especially TI test and especially the TI test. Here's why. I've encountered two things that make me question it recently. One, it seemed like JHB an ESFP in everything about her except the TI test. So that is the sort of thing.
That's what I was thinking
That's
too.
the sort of thing that falsifies my notion that the test is definitive. It would suggest that there's a way around that test if you're polar that you could do well on it. The other person is the person I was just talking to a little while ago, who my gut, my intuition is saying is an ENFJ. Everything about him more or less seems ENFJ. I don't remember how he did exactly on the SI test, to be honest, but his TI was better than any fourth slot TI I've ever seen. So,
so that's tough then.
So I'm not sure. I'm perfectly willing to say, okay, these tests are the success rate of them is about 90%, not 100% or something. Okay, Sergey Rachmaninoff, you can pass the TI test by using TE and a little SI. That's true, but and that's why I wish it's like I need to figure out how much TI testing I need to do before I can determine how much. I need to find a link between the amount of TI testing I do and the certainty of the outcome, because I can't tell in either of those instances whether it's because I did too little TI testing, and so you may be able to fake it through a couple of them with a few heuristics like TE heuristics or SI remembering, or if in fact they've developed this skill more through life somehow than a normal TI polar person, which would really throw a wrench in things. True, granted, Sergey Rachmaninoff, I'm also not necessarily aware of the extent to which people are familiar with my testing approaches.
Yeah.
But remember also, Sergey Rachmaninoff, you're putting me in a bit of a bind there because I can come up with new TI questions, but you can't come up with an infinite number of kinds of TI questions. So there's a finite number of them. I know this because I've compiled all the different kinds I could think of or find as a logic and critical thinking teacher. So the other problem is some of the TI questions that you could potentially use may have more instructions in them than others. So some of them, it's not entirely clear what you're supposed to be, how or what you're going to do with it until you experience the process of that particular kind of question once. So I don't want the TI questions to test intuition. So, for example, the question about the 5 thieves who stole the pie. Each of the thieves tells one truth and one lie. I couldn't figure that out at first. The first time I encountered that kind of question, I didn't get the trick to it. I looked up the answer and then I said, oh, I see the trick to it. And now it's no problem. So if somebody didn't see the trick to that question, like I didn't see the trick to it, and it's a kind of question they never heard before, then I'm really testing their intuition, not their TI. So that's the other confounding factor. The bottom line is it's not easy to come up with anything that's as definitive and as reliable as we'd like it to be so that we can call this thing as empirical as possible. We certainly can point to, Jade, somebody else here said, Jade's definitely TI polar. So, you can spend some time interacting with Jade and go get away from cognitive functions entirely and say, okay, so let's pretend there are 16 types of people. This is one type. Would you be able to find others who are like her and are like her in the same kind of ways about being negationary towards things having specific meanings, and a bunch of other traits we could list about how Jade interacts socially? Would we be able to find a bunch of other people who share those traits and are examples of that same type? Yes, right? So in that regard, in empirical taxonomy, we would note that there do seem to be groups of people who have similar affects in some ways that we can articulate definitively. However, what we really need is a way to link that to something that can't be, that's not affected by open system vectors. So what Sergey is saying is that it's hard to isolate TI from SI and TE if people have experience with this, what I'm doing. And that's true. He suggests another alternative here, which I'll get to in a second, but that's true, but it's also hard to isolate it when you're not giving them something that they understand the concept of or the trick of. Then you're no longer testing how well they can do the trick, or how fast, or how easily. You're testing whether they can figure out what trick you're asking them to do. So that's a different kind of question, right? But these are good suggestions here. What if you made a claim that was full of fallacies, have the person parse them out, and why they are fallacies? That would be a good one. There's only a certain finite number of kinds of fallacies, too. And depending on how you taxonomy, and it's not necessarily that many. Like, a genetic fallacy is the same fundamental engine of fallaciousness as an ad hominem. It's just, instead of attacking the person who's saying it, you're attacking that what's being said associates with bad people in some fashion. So in that regard, it will be revelatory of whether somebody's any TI, especially depending on how much meta-analysis of the argumentation they do. The more argumentational analysis they go into when asked or prompted, the more likely it is they're NITE somewhere up near the top. But because NI users will typically give the piece of analysis that speaks to them from the objective data, and then not say other stuff that the objective data doesn't say to them. Would she be able to construct a genealogy question of, say, 8 steps? Her? Jade? No, I don't think so. But see, the problem is, Evelyn, that seems to link a lot to SI too. So NTPs are a lot better at that than STPs usually. It seems to me. Although I wish I had more clear sense of what the data suggested to me on that, actually. I don't really remember how that's played out necessarily.
I remember the one UCP that we did typing with. She was good with the genealogy questions, but other if then or questions, she didn't get it.
Yeah. Okay, well, look, I'm going to ask, just give everybody a heads up, I'm going to ask an 8-step genealogy question right now. I can say it once, slowly, relatively slowly, and if you tell me whether you get it, whether you need to have it repeated, or... But see, the thing is, Queen of Vegas, it's not, you actually don't. So, the higher your TI is, the more you can do that in real time without keeping track of where you were before. So I'm going to give an example right now, okay? I'm going to give an 8-step genealogy question and just indicate whether you know the answer, or you got lost, or you lost track of it somewhere along the way, or if that's it, if you need to repeat it.
Okay, can I interject for just a moment? I
Please.
just want to ask, so like NFJs, like I know I want to write it down. There's no way, but I don't want to. Like I feel like I'm just gonna have to write it down. So I don't feel like I should be. I'm not gonna listen to. I mean, I am.
Well, just listen. Here's the thing, okay? For people who, I'm gonna say 8-step genealogy questions, and you can either attempt to get it or not. But the point is, I know probably some people will say, yeah, I got the answer, and others it'll seem they'll have a different relationship. So here we go.
Okay.
Ready? Who is my sister's mothers, sisters, daughters, mothers, husbands, son's sister in relation to me? If you think you know the answer, does anybody think Oliver Lyman says it got it? Queen of Vegas got it? Winston's mom lost me. Cloud got it wrong. Sergey got it, no repeat needed. 3DR said the answer is...
Okay, that's what I thought the answer was too. That's what I got.
Okay, so it's like that's maybe gonna divide. Who's it gonna divide at? Where are you gonna divide at with
Front
TI?
stack, back
Front stack, back stack, maybe 8. It's not gonna be a perfect. It's not gonna line up perfectly though, right? The slowness actually made it harder. Your ESFJ girlfriend got it pretty quickly too. So yeah, okay, so I'm not sure how meaningful that is. Then I don't know. I'm having doubts about how much weight I can put onto it. Not the correlations in general, which I think are I feel very confident about, but how reliable it is. How my quick heuristic evaluations of people's results are. So if I'm asking somebody 4 or 5 TI questions, that's it, and I'm reading them off of that, it may be the case that these deficits can be hidden, but they can be exposed if you do meow amount of questions, or it may not. I don't know. I'd have to do the test of it. You know?
I'm like getting better with my TI too, like being in this environment. Because like when I was in New York, I was mostly working with SE. I'm like being completely like honest here. So I have to disagree with Sergey Rachmaninoff because I have third, and I think that if it's developed enough, that it could be really good.
Which segues into this conversation I had with this guy, this NFJ guy. One of the two. I typed him as INFJ, but he really seems like an ENFJ to me.
Yeah, he does too. He's
even right down to the kind of no fear. Hey, can we chat some more? Mm-hmm. You know, like just you might consider it a little impositional, but you know, ENFJs somehow get away with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he seems like an ENFJ in a lot of different ways. And yet he did well on the TI. Well, today I found out that he did Lincoln Douglas debate. He did competition flow debate. So that it's like, okay, I would have argued I don't think you can really train TI much above its slot, but I'm having to reconsider that.
He reminds me of an ENFJ that I know from New York. And the way that he wants to help you at the end, he's like, hey, you know, if you need any help, like...
That's right, I remember that now.
Yeah, so I was like, what makes him think that he's not an ENFJ?
You would think ISFJs would generally be very good at the genealogies. I think they're not bad at them. I think they're pretty good at them. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Home Fries. What is Home Fries' name? That guy I just talked to a little while ago.
I don't know, actually.
I don't remember.
Mike? I'm throwing that out in the
Yeah,
air.
it's kind of a...
I came in during it.
He's a happy-looking, kind of youngish... I don't think I made a video with him. I don't think you know what I'm talking about. You guys don't know him. So, no, it wasn't Matt. Mm-mm. What was interesting, though... Rachel, is it okay if I inform the internet about what you were saying?
Yeah.
So, Rachel, at the end of that debate last night, she's like, I think it's this guy. I think I know who that guy is. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, well, she thinks he's a radio guy that was on the radio and people call in with their love problems and he'd give them advice.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, that can't possibly be right. But then when she pointed me to the guy and I played his video and listened to it for a little bit, sure the fuck sounds like him.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what his name was again?
Matthew Hussey. I don't know if it's spelled said like that.
Was that video that we watched on YouTube?
Yep. It was 6 years ago. He's on like iHeartRadio.
Is it EY?
EY. And the video I showed him was one that I listened to years ago while I was going through a breakup. I would say Matthew Hussey breakup advice. And look that up on YouTube. It'll come up right away. It's from 6 years ago. You'll see he has like a microphone in front of him. You can tell it's more of a studio, radio studio than like here we are at home sort of thing. And the advice was not bad. It was like the right advice for me at the time.
That's right, I can talk.
That's funny.
Um,
Hi, Zaylen Black. Good evening indeed.
So, right, yeah, so this Matthew as a guy, I don't know, I'm curious. It's like...
Yeah, I like to get other people's opinions too. I mean, if it's not him, it's someone who is from his area. Because
he has the same
sounds
accent.
exactly like him. I mean, if, like I said, if it's not him, it's someone who lives in that area because the accent was definitely noticeable. It sounds like an Aussie, like really does sound like an Australian possibly, but I don't know. Like it could be one of those like places in England where they have a different accent from the area they're from. But it sounds like Matthew Hussey or Hussey.
You know what they say, Raphael? You can act without understanding, but you can't stand without underacting. How do you do that? I never, don't, never, not eat cheese. Dun, dun, dun. I never, don't, ever not eat cheese. Do I eat cheese? Let's see. Okay. I never, don't, ever not eat cheese. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you do. Mm-hmm.
You're a cheese eater. You like eating cheese.
I speak like that sometimes. Put things kind of backwards. T-E. Polar, I guess.
Cloud, the reason we know it's binary is because we spell 2, 1, O.
Ooh.
Binary joke. Everybody get my binary joke? No, you gotta be smart to get that joke. Or you gotta know about binary anyway. It's a math joke. I'm not gonna lie, it's a math joke.
Oh,
I made a math joke!
Math joke! What's a math joke?
Math joke
Day?
is about binary. You see, because binary, it only has ones and zeros. So the number 2 is spelled 1, 0.
Oh.
It looks like the number 10.
That's so
right?
funny.
So anyway, go ahead, Rachel.
Scott's Pilgrim, your simp leader, says Lawnmower. Well, do watch Scott's Pilgrim because it's a good movie, not because you're a simp leader. It's a good, if you're into graphic novels and comic books, it's a really well made graphic novel movie. They really got the characters right, and that's like half the battle. of
John Wick's another good movie from one of those books, right? Or it's
what?
graphic novel. That's also a graphic novel, right? John Wick?
Yeah, John Wick. And John Wick did fucking right too. Oh my god, it was so good. I was like so clenched.
I am prepared for war now, thanks to Barabellum.
Hey, I was thinking how if I was with, like, say you were John Wick right now, how I would have to be loading my gun, like, and be prepared to, like, walk out, like.
So, okay, so this is the thing about the John Wick Parabellum movie, which I watched for the second time last night, and Rachel watched for the first time.
Yep.
There's a few things in it that are just, like, fantastic.
Yeah, oh my god. It's funny, too, sometimes. It's great.
The key thing is they kill people in that movie. You know, for obviously, John Wick movies are basically, well, let's watch John Wick kill people for an hour and a half, okay? So, they kill people in so many different ways in that movie. They're so creative with the kill scenes. My favorite one of all is when John Wick uses the horse to kick people in the head.
Oh my god, that was great! That was so great. That's such a John Wick thing. Only John Wick.
Mm-hmm. The other great scene that was, like, striking, very striking scene was the knife throwing scene where they're standing there and they're throwing knives at each other. It was great. It's just generally that I've never seen. Well, I don't know if I would say that, but I will say this: that whoever's doing the direction on that thing, is basically he's directing a kind of movie that's very different to direct than, say, a parlor drama of some sort, where people dress up in costumes and say, "But Mr. Daniel."
But Mr. Darcy.
Yeah. So it's a totally different kind of project, right?
Yeah, that is.
But they do such a good job with it.
They do.
The scene where they're riding the motorcycles and he's killing them while they're all on motorcycles.
Oh my god, it's so good!
The inclusion of the German Shepherds and the lady
yes!
friend. That's great. The German Shepherds.
Great too.
There's this one part where like she's dealing with this guy right here and she's like, you know, yip, yip, or whatever she says.
Yeah.
And the dog jumps up on her back and jumps on top of the wall and it pulls this guy down.
Oh, so great.
And it's like, yes.
Sometimes, oh my god, though, the part where, like, ew, the ballerina's toes, I was like, fuck.
There were a couple of rough moments.
Yeah, in the beginning.
You thought Halle Berry ruined it? I didn't think she was bad.
I don't think she was bad at all.
I don't think she really stayed out good either, necessarily. I mean, she didn't like win the award for most believable acting, but she wasn't doing much acting wise. Didn't need to do much.
Yeah, didn't.
And you're right, she was good with the physical component.
Yeah.
Right? So the other thing with that, the other thing I liked in that movie was when well, there was one more fight scene that I was going to mention, but I don't remember what it was at the moment. So they kill people in lots of interesting ways. Yeah, it's
got a, doesn't it have a graphic novel like look to it? A lot of dark, contrasting, like lights. Oh yeah.
Remember that scene where so remember the scene towards the end, the Japanese guy, sushi chef. What? I don't remember. Just hold on about that. You're me distracted. Okay, so the sushi chef guy, and he's fighting John Wick, and he's winning the first couple of rounds of the thing, and then after that, John Wick wins a round, and the tables are turned. Now he's the one who gets up, and the guy's suddenly disappeared. Right? This keeps happening to various people in the thing because they're in this kind of like mirror-y place, you know. So. And then there's this scene where it's just framed like black. There's the Japanese guy's head, which is all like white, like it's the dark behind him, and then he's like you see his eyes kind of moving back and forth a little bit, and then John Wick's face steps forward.
Oh yeah!
Like,
so good!
Such a good shot. Such a well-directed moment.
Definitely well directed.
And also the very end when where you realize there's the Japanese guy is like, just gotta catch my breath, you know, and you can kind of see this weird last gasp of denial, and John Wick goes, yeah, no you won't. And I'll catch up with you. No you won't. And it's just so like, oh, he didn't just kill him physically, he killed him metaphysically too.
He did.
So I liked that movie. I thought it was interesting. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, this is the other one. When John Wick is riding the horse down the middle of the highway, that has got to be like every housewife's fantasy, right? Like they picture Keanu Reeves riding on this horse, and they're like sitting at a cafe on the corner. I'm here for you, Carolyn.
And he's like known for like doing stuff like that.
Throws her on the back of the horse, and she's like, Keanu, for me.
I loved you in Speed.
It's like I hope there's a gif. I haven't looked for it at all. There should be a gif just of him like riding on the horse in the middle of the highway with his long hair flowing behind him.
Oh my god!
Okay, I mean, when did you become this sort of like icon of what? It's a unique Keanu.
Yo, it started with Sad Keanu.
What's Sad Keanu?
So like, after he made like, he wasn't like working for a little bit. He wasn't really doing any movies, and there were like these like pictures of him, like paparazzi pictures of him like this in a park, like feeding birds and stuff, and it was like memed as Sad Keanu.
Was he actually sad at the time?
I don't know. No one knows, but it looks so sad. Like you can see it in his face. Like I don't know. I resonated with it. I was like, oh my god, I've been there, and he's got the paparazzi with me at this moment.
Freddie Forgiato says, why are you under review with YouTube? First of all, how do you know that I'm under review with YouTube? Because of me talking about it, or because of some other source? That wasn't Halle Berry. That was her character, Lawnmower.
You gotta separate that. Look,
Halle Berry.
She was part of it, but she like.
I think, Lawnmower, were you saying that the addition of that character were in the movie? I loved the addition of the dogs, and her character came along with them.
And you know, Angelica Houston is a award-winning actress, and I forgot that she was in it too. So
I didn't even realize until Rachel pointed it out. That's Angelica Houston.
So,
I said, no, she's gotta be dead. She's not dead.
No, she's not.
Not dead.
Not dead. She was very much in that movie, and I forgot she was in the movies, and she was good. So.
Yeah, fine. Lawnmower, I accept that. But you see, we were kind of talking. I was talking about what qualities of the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I assumed you meant she had acted poorly.
Oh.
So, but okay, I misunderstood. I get you. That's fine. I didn't know her name, but I recognized her, and when Rachel told me her name, I was like, oh yeah, that is Halle Berry. She looks a little different now than she used to. A little bit more middle-aged, I guess.
Yeah. I was wondering her age, actually.
I don't really remember distinctly John Wick's 1, 2, and 3. They all kind of mushed together in my head, you know.
Yeah. They're good.
But I enjoyed them all a lot.
Scott Pilgrim, if you can't take Effie stuff, awkwardness.
Yeah, I did, Raphael.
I wouldn't recommend it. It's pretty gaff. That movie's got a gaff, ENFP as the main character, so there's a lot of awkwardness. So it's not for everyone. Can't say it's for everyone, but I liked it. I liked Scott Pilgrim a lot. I actually think that John Wick 1, 2, and 3 is better than Scott Pilgrim, but Scott Pilgrim's a lot of fun.
No, Lawnmower, I like the fact that there's nobody should get away with shooting that dog, so he shouldn't get away with that shit.
I don't know.
So I like the way that it played out.
Yeah, me too.
The other thing I want to say about movies, there's some other movie thing I wanted to mention. What other movies have we seen recently? What did we see before?
Oh
We saw
yeah.
Speed. Speed was good.
Speed.
Um, but what we saw before that, Kick Ass, and then there was one more we saw. Oh, the Spider-Man one. Yeah, I really like the Spider-Man
Me
one. Quite a bit.
Me too. I'm so glad. I'm so like it's such a nice shared movie that because like I saw that alone by myself in the movies and I loved it and I had no one to talk to about it with and now I have Eric to talk about it with and he thought it was just as great as I did, so it was like really fun to talk. Like it's really great talking movies together. I think that like I like his perspective. Sometimes I miss something that he gets, and vice versa. It's really, I mean, we entertain ourselves with entertainment.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of fun watching movies. A lot
Yeah.
more. There's nothing empowering about that scene. It's not some sort of feminist anything. It's just you are politicizing something that has no political aspects to it.
No, Aquaman and the Last Airbender, Avatar, Last Airbender, the movie. No, thumbs down.
The only way that either of those movies could be good is if they combined them into one movie. Now that would be good. Aquaman, the last
yes.
Aquaman
If you want to laugh at movies.
versus the last Airbender in a battle royale for the fate of Atlantis, while concurrently the Fire Nation has to thread as many different elements of both stories together as possible. That was a complete clusterfuck of mishmash of nonsense. Then maybe it would be entertaining.
Tom Jeckelson asks, is throwing ideas around and exploring different perspectives something you enjoy, Rachel? Yes, I do. And my name is spelled Rachel, Jasper.
I would like to answer that question as well by pointing to the thing I was saying earlier, namely that it's good to remember the functions as put, get, receive, and she's a receiver, which means she's normally in a state of readiness to receive objective data that she can know things about. So it's like I was coming to terms with the fact today that if possible, I'd like to be more able to listen at least some of the time in the way that she probably listens, namely in a state of open receptiveness, rather than because you're answering a question I asked and I'm getting the information I'm trying to get from it, or because somebody says hey and I listen then but actually being aware that if I'm not in my head putting information on the internal metaphysical field, that my eyes might see things that I have knowledge about inherent to them, that the identity is telling me things about it. So if I'm not spending so much time thinking about how a song I just made might be successful or unsuccessful in certain ways or this way, or other possible ways I could do things, and I'm just listening to it with a readiness to know whether it's good or not or something, then I will be more able to enable my NI. Maybe. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but it's a thing I'm thinking of today. So it's like, when we're talking about different types then, what are they? Are they in a default put information state, in a default questioning state, seeking information, or in a default receiving state? If you're in a default interface state, it's like the value of the interface function basically determines. I'm not quite sure how to correlate, how to fit in the interface functions with this whole. You can get so much more clarity about the other three kind of functions, but not a lot more clarity about the interfaces that I can see at the moment.
It's interesting. The 70s had a lot of really serious movies. Like, really serious, sometimes to the point of, like, depressing movies. Like, Godfather was great. That's a great movie. I fucking love that movie. I have never read the book, but I do love the movie, and I like the second one too. But I also think of Al Pacino in the 70s playing a heroin addict in Panic with Needle Park, and while I do believe that it's important to know history, especially of the area that you live in, uh, it was such it was just such a sad story. I mean, it was just, I didn't get anything else from it except for like feeling bad for like 3 days over these characters. Like, a lot of 70s movies are like that.
70s was a pretentious decade. 70s was an extroverted intuition decade.
Ooh.
So, like, if you look at the 70s in general, people like George Carlin represent kind of the spirit of the era or something. Or Hunter S. Thompson, even dragging into the 70s, for sure, through the 70s. Those are very inny spirits. That what's good art is different and, you know, it's novel in some ways that challenges the status quo.
Yeah, totally.
Now, when you cross that with FI, that NE, then you get this movie about junkies that's very sad, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, it was so sad. When I say that I was depressed for 3 days over these two characters, I really was. It pulled too much out of me. The ENFJ that I was dating at the time loved the movie. I was like, that was too much for me. Wait. See, the thing is, I already knew that it was bad in the 70s in New York City because my dad told me about it. But then to see it on the screen, man, fuck. It was painful. But I'm glad that I was exposed to these kind of movies because I can talk about them now, you know? Like, I like The French Connection. That's a 70s movie. I like, I believe Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was made in the 70s. I like that movie too.
Okay, so I wanted to say that the best decade is the 2020s. I'm quite confident that this is going to be the best decade because I'm an SI knower. In other words, I'm very sure that I'm the best I've been, and that I'm most capable of being happy, fulfilled, accomplished, doing things that matter, whatever.
Yeah.
So, for me, I think 2020 is going to be the best.
I do
decade.
too.
Also, it's the least constrained by assorted previous wrongnesses.
Seriously.
The 70s was an NE decade, and you can see why you don't want experted intuition in the driver's seat with your art. So it's full of bands that have albums with 14-minute songs on them, and just jamming and a bunch of pretension and awfulness. You have to get NI in the driver's seat, and NE is not even in the passenger seat, really. It's more like in the back seat where it can be asked for help when needed, rather than perhaps. Sorry, Juniper Hats, no freeloads around here.
Nope.
The 90s were an FE decade. When I think about the 80s were I think of it as kind of a TE decade, but TEFE. It was
FE too, yeah.
It was an interface decade, so it was like, first of all, it was an easy decade. The 80s was an incredibly easy decade. The things people were worried about and upset about, comparative to what people are worried and upset about today, were very minor, excepting there was this more or less irrational fear of global nuclear war that sort of loomed over everything. But it was like the other levels of problems were, is this trade agreement really good for America? Things like that. It was just like, come on, that's not a this is a very comfortable society proceeding on as always is what it was in the 80s, and it was a prosperous society, much more prosperous universally than it is now.
Yeah.
And it was a society that, at least until the late 80s, but really all of the 80s, was not influenced by any of the communication advancements that happened since. It was the last era of isolation, but it was the least isolated era of isolation. So it was like we in the 80s had more access to media and information than anybody ever had before. And yet we're still very much in that class of people who barely had any access to information compared to after. So it's like, what happens when you don't have an honest, universal, metaphysical plane like the internet to operate for everyone for ideas to be subject to basic laws of nature, selection, survival of the fittest, is a real thing, not because it changes things for the better, but because it eliminates weakness. And so there's something quaint about the 80s too. Like the various things that were made there, they're predicated on particularist assumptions. You can see that there wasn't as widespread a communication. People would make things without being aware of how they linked to other things or would resonate in the future at all. There was a lack of intuitive breadth to the whole thing that makes it almost adorable retrospectively in its innocence.
I had so I'm 85, so I did live for what? Yeah, 67, 88, 89, 4 years in the 80s, and I did absolutely have terrible haircuts in the 80s. Even as a little child, they were able to ruin my hair with the 80s style, man. It was like, I had one of those, like, I remember it so clearly, like, my mom getting me a haircut for, like, before my aunt's wedding. Like, this had to be, like, my sister was, what, 1 or 2? So, like, 88? Maybe, yeah, 88. Maybe 89. And maybe 89. And they had, oh my god, it was so weird.
Like this guy, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy is a quintessential, right?
Not even, like...
Like, this guy right here is the quintessential 80s teen preppy villain. Or this guy.
Yeah, totally.
Let me show the window here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. This guy, remember this guy? And this is from
Oh
Karate
yeah,
Kid.
that's from Karate Kid. He has the hair though. They gave that to me as a little girl.
This guy's really rocking that hair right now. This guy.
Yeah.
I recognize him.
Yep, that's he's in Pretty in Pink.
It's like you can picture these villains going, Katie, you don't want to be around that loser.
Totally.
Come hang out with me and my rich preppy friends.
Yes, and like her hair too, like her bangs, those mall bangs. My cousins had those. My older cousins definitely rocked the mall bangs.
Oh, look at this. You can tell 80s preppy villain. He's bullying these two nice kids that are kind of different, right?
Yeah.
He's bullying them for being different. That's always happening in the 80s. God damn it. Sick of it.
Good hair equals villain.
Let's see who else we got here. Let's see
Or
what
bleached.
Yeah, they're blonde, and ideally, it's like it's got this like, well,
It's like kind of coiffed.
it's kind of fatter or something than just regular hair.
It's coiffed.
That. Look at that. That's
Oh
great.
my gosh, that is such 80s hair.
I want that haircut. Oh, this is your haircut, Rachel.
That's my haircut right now?
In the 80s.
Oh, in the 80s? No, it was worse than that. It was like...
Guy's got a good haircut. There they are. They're the preppy villain. This guy's great preppy villain. See him?
Yeah, he is. He's got a cardigan around his neck. You know he's preppy.
They're both wearing sweaters.
When I think of... I had hair like that. I had
Like what,
hair like
this?
the dude. Yeah. They
Like
gave
this
me
guy?
his hair. Yeah. I was like 2 years old and they gave me like adult hair.
That's
like,
terrible hair.
Yeah.
That is some terrible hair.
It really is.
I mean, I'd look good with that head of hair on me.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Sure, but
Yes, but about a 2-year-old, I was like, oh my gosh. So yes, even though I was like a little kid, I was subject to the terrible 80s hairstyles.
So, I should limit this a little bit further. Blonde, good hair, villain. 80s villains have good hair, you know? Well, I mean, sure, David Bowie.
That's a classic.
David Bowie from Labyrinth.
Oh my god, I love that they have, what's her name, too, Glenn Close from Fatal Attraction. That is it.
That's some good hair.
That is some good 80s hair.
Oh my god, is Linda Ronstadt and Liza Minnelli together at last for the first time? Isn't that Linda Linda, who is that lady?
I don't know. That one I think is Jacqueline Collins.
Oh, Jacqueline Collins, thank you, okay. Grow up, Heather. Bulimia is so 87.
Oh my gosh! I was obsessed with that cartoon.
This one?
Oh my gosh!
What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. I had the little dolls of.
It looks spectacular, I just gotta tell you right now. That looks like something I'm gonna really enjoy.
I'm not making you watch this. I just want to know what
I'm
it's
curious.
called.
Yeah, I'm curious what it is too.
I was obsessed with. I had little dolls of her and her friends. They had like streaks of colors in their hair.
Or is it
Lady
Lovely
Locks.
Locks and the Pixie Tales?
Yeah.
Lady Lovely Locks and the Pixie Tales was a show based on the Mattel toy Lady Lovely Locks, and it was about her life in the kingdom of Lovely Locks. It sounds like something I'd make up to make fun of the girls' cartoons when I was little.
Totally. Totally. It's worth making fun of. Trust
I gotta
me.
watch
I
an episode
did.
of
I was such a girl. I was such a little girl as a kid. Like, you know, like I love wearing dresses. And I loved the fact that she had long hair. Lady Lovely Locks, yes. I used to have the dolls that went along with them too.
It's such a fantastic name. Lady Lovely Locks.
Yeah.
And she lives in the kingdom of Lovely Locks.
I think so.
The whole kingdom is named after her family name or surname. The Lovely Lock family. The thing is, most of the family are their hair doesn't really look very good. She's lucky. She actually has the hair to match the name.
You could definitely find some toys on eBay. I wouldn't be surprised if some people have it. I loved playing with Barbies and like McDonald's when they had like any all Disney princesses I loved except for Cinderella because I don't know why. I just didn't really like Cinderella. I liked all of the other ones. My top 3, I don't know, but because I feel like it's wasting time. To be like top 3 princesses. I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Princess Pageant Dimples?
I was a big Disney kid. I used to also watch Mousercise. I would wake up my dad at like 6 in the morning and we would watch Mousercise on cable Disney Channel.
Because the question all over my
At a
head,
nice
just to
childhood.
clarify, is if Bruce Lee were to fall on Chuck Norris, so if Bruce Lee falls on Chuck Norris, does it make him frown? The answer
That's
is
a good question.
it depends on why he's falling on him.
And Sandy, I don't know where Pee-Pee is right now. She's off somewhere.
She's off winning kitty pageants. That's what she does when she's gone. She comes back home with some new medals and some certificates of participation and such, you know.
Yeah, she's a very busy girl.
I'm not crying, I'm just fascinated. I'm not crying, I'm just fascinated. that's great. That's a great song lyric, actually. So, maybe we're gonna eat dinner around 6 o'clock. So maybe I'm going to play this thing for you first, but then maybe there she is.
Here's Pee-Pee.
Oh, Capillo, what a beautiful glory!
Kitty pageant winner, yes! It's you. You won.
If you were a geyser, you'd be Old Faithful. Anyway, I'm just, listening to this thing because there's no harmony in my heart. No harmony. I'm bipolar. I've got no harmony in my heart. Non-harmonious in my heart. That's what's wrong with me and my heart. I'm non-harmonious in my heart. Thank you, Cloud, for concerning yourself with my heart.
Aww.
That's where the moisture lives. That's where the tenderness of my dewdrops gather. The movies were fun, Zandy, but the girls, ugh. All the girls threw their poo with me while I was watching that movie with thee. All the girls threw their poo with me while I was watching that movie with you, Zandy.
Can you pull some cards for me?
Sure. Well, anyway, that's just something I've been thracking out a bit. Womanhood song fleshed out, please. Womanhood song. Womanhood, oh well of moisture, so fleshy round and soft and true. Oh womanhood, we grow inside you, the earth and boobs as well.
Thanks, Faye. I'm here to represent the women out there.
Well, let's pull a card or two for you and all your women friends.
Okay.
Actually, this one's just for you. Here we go. So, this is Rachel's. I'm going to do your surface concern, mid-level concern, deep concern. Now, it can be positive or negative, you know. Not
Yeah.
pretty bad. So, top level concern right here.
2 cups.
2 cups. That's the surface concern, is being soulmates. The mid-level concern. The mid-level concern is this one.
6 of Swords.
Mid-level concern is getting where you're going, ignoring all the swords that might tempt you to stay and fight something in the river. Your solution to how to get rid of the troll: move along. You don't be there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Oops, I shouldn't have put that one back. I don't want to pull it again. But anyway, the bottom level concern. This means like I guess your id. You can call that your super ego. Your ego is your bridge girl.
Okay.
And this would be like your id, your animal level concerns.
Ooh,
Page of Cups.
Page of Cups.
A childlike freedom and your loving joy.
Oh, that's me.
That's deep within you,
That's
in your
me.
id soul.
Oh.
Who else wants their super ego, and id read? Anybody else want a super ego, id reading?
My super ego really is a 2 of Cups.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
Raphael, you're going to get a super ego, id reading. Here you go. Your super ego. Trying to do too many things at once. Okay? You're trying to hold 2 pentacles while you're trying to stand on 2 pentacles, and you could fall over that little fence there. It's a long drop down to the transparency below, okay? Alright. I don't like the stream. I feel I can do better. Well, thanks a lot, Email Anthrax. I don't think he's talking about me. I think he's talking about something else. Alright, now, Raphael. Oh, he could be talking about me.
I don't think so, no. It was a good answer.
Bring it! I don't know. This is your ego level concern, Raphael. Betrayal. You're very concerned about. You're not very trusting, are you, at the ego level? Raphael, you're.
Sad heart.
Yeah, sad. And remember, that white rose is there to tell you that believe in me,
Have
and
faith.
love will bloom in your moisture.
Exactly.
And this is interesting. This is your deepest self. It's your femininity. When you're really yourself, you're not an asshole.
Actually, Lawnmower, it's not just INFJ females, because an ENTP is the one who showed me tarot cards. I didn't even know about them until an ENTP, so.
Alright, Cloud, here we go. Cloud's super ego, Cloud's ego, and Cloud's super ego.
Ooh!
Your surface level concern is
Dinner with
Jesus. Yeah. You like to have all your cups. You like to choose them all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to eliminate any choice. I choose all my cups plus Jesus. That's your super ego. Now, your ego, as it's called. The ego. Your ego is, again, I want to keep all of these pentacles. And no, little red guy, you can't have my stick.
It's a lot of people trying to take away sticks.
Your ego and your super ego and ego are both concerned with having everything, goddammit. I want everything. Now, your id. Now we're going to find out deep down inside what the animal cloud has to say about all this. Ooh, really, you want to have the joy of new ideas. The joy of new...
That is the joy.
The joy of new sort of thoughts. Where you go, this is a thought. Of course, you know, there's still 2 through king to go. But, you know, ace is fun, I agree. Ace is fun. Ideally we get up to like 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
maybe 2,
yeah.
but if we keep doing ace, that's okay too. What is tarot? Email answer, Freddie Forgiato. What is tarot? I'm going to tell you right now what your tarot is. Tarot is when I tell you stuff about yourself based on when these cards come out and what they look like. Ooh. Or say on them. They say things, depending. It depends on where they say things on them. So, Freddie Forgiato, we're going to find out now what your superego has to say by the tarot cards.
Ooh la la.
Freddie Forgiato gets this. Your superego is a guy on a boat. That means your superego is all about traveling. Don't get stuck in one place, either metaphorically or literally. You know, get on a boat, metaphorically or literally. That's your superego concern. That means, I guess you consider that the area of concern for most distant decision making. And your ego. Ooh, the devil. So you use materialism, which in this instance I would claim to mean firefighters. On the ego level, you're concerned with being able to use your firefighters as you see fit, which is to say, if you're not feeling comfortable, you want to go get loaded and you don't want anybody to interfere with you, or whatever your thing is, you know? Yeah. Now your id. Your id is this guy, the 7 of 6. It's another travel-y one. So it's like, while your superego is concerned with the varying aspects and details and such of movement from a certain location so you're not stagnant, your id is actually satisfied by just taking a walk around the block or something. You know, this is more natural travel. This is more constructed travel. Okay, so there you go. Anybody else want one of these? Did I do Winston's mom yet?
No, you didn't.
Winston's mom, are you ready? Are you ready for some football? It's a Monday night party with Frank and Al and Dan. We're gonna get started. Okay, Winston's mom, here we go. Your superego. Superego, your top level or surface level concern is the 10 of Pentacles. You know, resources, family, looking at your children and your dog and going, hey, I'm the patriarch here. Mm-hmm. Your egoic level self, let's say you could think of this as sort of short-term but not immediate-term decision-making. The superego is long-term decision-making. Short-term, but short to medium-term decision-making, oh, you got this one, is this one. This is your egoic concern, is basically preventing your swords from rusting because you left them in the snow, and other things that will cause you to have to be locked in behind these decorative but nevertheless encasing bars. Now your id, your animal concerns. This is your shortest level decision making. In other words, when called upon to let your id run free, you hesitate.
Like 5.
That means you're not doing enough SE, okay? The tarot is telling you that's what's wrong with you. You need to do more SE. No, I'm not Teal Swan. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. It's just saying, go ahead. Let your SE go.
That's good. Yeah.
Be free to run. You want to run around your backyard naked? You go ahead and do it.
Go ahead.
You want to hang from the tree upside down?
Sure.
Go for it. But don't do it too long. You're not good for you.
Get blood to your head.
Yeah, right.
Head rush.
You don't want to get this yellow stuff dripping out of your shoulders like this guy has. You can't really see it on.
He's got blood dripping down?
No, he's got yellow stuff.
Oh, he's got like a halo.
Yeah. I think it might be pus dripping from his shoulders.
I do too.
Alright, anybody that didn't get wants to be got? I don't want to leave you out. Oh, okay. Well, I don't really know what people mean when this is superego ego. I really don't get. I'm fine with the division, but I don't really know what people generally mean when they say super ego, ego, and id.
I don't either.
Executive, like meta identity, identity, and impulse or something. I don't know. Angantyr. Your super ego. Your top surface level concern. Your surface level concern is the Ace of Pentacles. New practical opportunities for especially financial gain. Now, your ego, this is your medium level concern. The other way you can translate this to make it more meaningful is to say it's long-term decisions, medium or short-term decisions, and instant-term decisions. So, okay, I'll do me next, Raphael. Okay, so long-term decisions are about new financial opportunities, which means you like to keep open you like liquidity probably. And then the ego, or second level, the mid-level decision making, you tend to factor in what you gotta take care of, basically as I handle your business stuff. And then on the id level, your animal self, though, Angantyr, this is the true rushing, hair-covered, gamey self that it lies within Angantyr. His passion roars within, according to the dictates of the Knight of Cups. So you're kind of like Rachel with your id, except you're a little bit more mature. Mm-hmm. You think to bring fancy flowers and ride your whitest horse. Whereas the Page of Cups, you're just kind of like, cool, I got a horse. It's a little different. Does he have a horse?
He has a cup with a fish in it.
He doesn't have a horse.
No, he just brings...
I don't have a horse, but I'm happy with this cup and the fish.
Yeah.
I'm happy to get something.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's like when you win at the carnival, that goldfish in a bag. You're like, I got a goldfish.
How do people who know tarot do poker? Same way I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.
Yeah, they do.
It doesn't take any special knowledge, really.
It
took me a little while to learn what they're supposed to mean, and the extent to which I wanted to deviate from that. Yeah. But once I got down what I think they mean, I go with that because it's more or less, it's interpretive. It's not completely arbitrary. In other words, it's linked to the picture, but it's that gives you a lot of creative room to work, All right, so I'm going to do me next. Somebody requested that. Raphael did. Here's my super ego.
The sun. He is a very optimistic, sunny kind of person, huh?
My long-term decisions are all about how I can be more front and center. Okay. My card skills are terrible? Hey, are you busting my tarot skills? Here's my ego. Justice.
Yep. Truth.
That's true.
Yeah.
There my id is. This is going to be like scared little baby. See, inside I'm just a scared little boy.
Aww.
Let's see.
Let's see.
See what it says. Ooh. I'm afraid of being betrayed. Boy, that's kind of true. That's my animal fear number 1, I guess.
Yeah. But that's mine too. So.
Yeah. I don't really think about it. Like, it's not really conscious, I guess. That's what makes it id.
Can we do a couple reading?
Sure. You want to do a couple?
Yeah.
Reading? So as a couple, we act both as individuals, but also we act as a single unit entity called Racheric. We are the Brangelina.
We're the
Brangelina of YouTube.
Here we are.
Racheric.
Cheric.
So we're going to see Racheric's super ego.
Cheric.
What does Racheric's super ego say? We're just concerned about fucking around.
That's the Fool card. We're 2 zeros who are heroes.
Let's see about our ego. Racheric's ego. Ooh.
The Tower.
The Tower. So I guess our medium to short-term decision making is based on panic monkey kind of, or avoiding panic monkey. Mm-hmm. So that seems fine.
Pretty relative.
We're playing.
That's relatable.
For the moment, this guy is perfectly happy. He's got his dog. It's a nice sunny day. The weather's pleasant. He's even though he's wearing ridiculous clothes, he doesn't need to worry because it's so mild outside.
Yeah.
Later on, though, he's still just fucking around on the road, and that's when a storm comes in, the weather temperature drops, and it gets dark and cold. Uh-oh.
Tower.
He was playing grasshopper, not ant, in that metaphor.
Yep.
Now, lastly, Rich Eric's id is the
Nine of Pentacles.
Nine of Pentacles. That means, you know, as our animal selves, we really were pretty cool watching what's going on with that lake while drinking our tea. And we've even hung up our pentacles there in the window so we can look at them if we want to.
Yeah.
Celebrating our own, like, comfort, I guess.
Comfort, yeah.
There you go. That's Rich
nice.
Eric's.
Rich Eric. I think that's a good read.
I mean, I really like the ones I pulled for me, actually. It was like, that's so right on the money.
Yeah, right?
My superego is concerned about me being the center of attention. My ego is concerned about being right, justice. And my id is probably means like those focuses and such are in some extent driven by fear of betrayal. 9 of 10 testicles agree. And above your miserable being not hated, being disgusted, but loving and disappointed like a dad, which was never present, but still can't cease to exist. I don't know what you're talking about. Not the society, but the thing within you that is above everything from the outside. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, well that's fine. I don't need to know what you're talking about. So we're going to wrap things up because we're going to have dinner with my dad in not super long time, and I want to have a chance to segue from this to the other activity. So, thank you for being here. And don't forget, 9 out of 10 testicles agree. This is a great live stream.